There's a story woven into every thread of African fabric, stories of kingdoms, resistance, and revival. And yet, somewhere along the way, the world forgot. When I first started exploring African fashion, I realized something powerful. The world often celebrates it for its colors and patterns, but really for its story. They see beauty, but not meaning. They see trends, but not timelines. They call our patterns tribal and ethnic, but look closer and you'll see the truth. Africa has always been the blueprint. Our fashion doesn't imitate, it inspires. African fashion has never been a trend, it is a heritage in motion. It is history rewritten by those who finally own their voice. Welcome to Zbra.Perspective, and today we're reclaiming the narrative of how African fashion is not a trend, it's history rewritten. The story of Ankara. The story of Ankara, Ondoma, in Ghanaian dialect, begins not in Ghana or Nigeria, but in the Netherlands. Let's travel back to the 17th century. Colonization, which is defined by the Cambridge English Dictionary as the act of sending people to live in and govern another country. The Netherlands colonized a wide range of countries, including Indonesia. Indonesian culture is deeply rooted in a traditional textile called batik. This traditional textile art dates back centuries, long before European colonization. This isn't just another fabric you could find in your local fabric supplier, or at the time could be replicated by a machine. To the Indonesians, this is the language of symbols, spirituality, and social hierarchy. The creation of these textiles themselves serve as an even bigger indicator of their intricacy. The process itself is done by hand, often by women, and it involved using a wax-resistant dyeing technique, where artisans draw intricate patterns on cloth with melted wax, then dye the fabric. Wherever the wax sits, the dye cannot penetrate, leaving behind designs once the wax is removed. Because of its artistic precision, symbolism, and craftsmanship, batik became a marker of Indonesian identity, recognized today by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. History has told the story of colonizers bringing their own ideologies and cultures into their colonies, which indigenous citizens were often forced to adopt and thus lead to the eradication of native practices, beliefs, and most often attire. When the Dutch arrived in the 17th century by the Dutch East India Company, they were fascinated by batik. But just like any other colony, they saw this as an opportunity to profit from a motif that was not theirs, seeing the opportunity to mass produce batik-like textiles. They had only one goal: profit, even if it meant reducing the dominance of local artisans. And so, they industrialized the sacred material by producing it back in Europe, particularly in the Netherlands and the UK, using machines and wax printing techniques. Factories such as Vlisco, founded in 1846 in the Netherlands, began producing these textiles in hopes of selling them back to Indonesia at a cheaper price, but they just couldn't get it. The designs were either misprinted or just too bright for the Asian market. It lacked soul, it lacked meaning. It wasn't real batik. And so, the Dutch looked elsewhere. Left with bales of fabric rejected by the Indonesian market, the move was to bring the unsold fabric to West Africa through their trade routes. What failed in Asia found magic here. It was an instant hit. African women didn't just wear it, they transformed it. What was deemed as too bold, ruinous, unsellable fabric became a breeding point for poetry, stories, and messages written on the prints and the patterns of the Ankara. Overnight, it became a symbol of love, mourning, politics, and celebrations. Women gave them names. They turned European imitation into African expression. Ankara's journey isn't about fabric, it's about power. The power of the African to take something foreign and redefine it with identity. Today, Ankara stands on global runways with African designers like Lisa Fulawio, Christy Brown, and Tongoro taking it to the world stage. It has been worn by celebrities such as Beyonce, Lupita, and everyday people across the continent. But let's be clear, this isn't about Western validation. It's about recognition that what was once imitation is now innovation. That African hands, African names, and African spirit gave this fabric its real story. Every time someone calls Ankara a trend, they miss the point. This isn't fashion following the world. This is fashion leading with culture. If you like this type of content, please subscribe down below and make sure to share and like this video to make it gain as much traction and to bring more people to this channel. Thank you for watching and welcome to Zebra Perspective.